Hello and welcome to the Transforming Ideas to Innovation video series. Today we will talk about how to connect digital input. The digital input we will use today is a push button. In here we have a push button that we will be using. We'll talk a little bit about what is a push button. You probably use it on a daily basis when you turn on lights or when you start something. We have two push buttons here. Just this one has like a nice red cap on top just to make it look nicer and easier to access. So we'll use this one. In addition, we will use, of course, our Arduino Uno breadboard battery. We'll use two types of resistors, 220 ohm resistor and 10 kilo ohm resistor, a little bit larger resistance in this case. In addition, we will be controlling the light coming out of an LED. We will use one of the LEDs we have in here. We can probably pick the blue one for testing. Okay, the first thing we need to do is connect the power rails, which we have already done in here. The second thing we need to do is connect the push button. How do we connect the push button? Push button, if you look from the bottom, you're going to see there are 4 pins in this specific type. 4 different connections. What happens is when you press on the button in here, you're just simply creating a mechanical connection, a physical connection between these 2 points. So when I press, these 2 points are connected. When I release, they are separated. The same thing happens with these 2 points. So technically, I have 2 switches in here, or 2 points that I can use to connect and disconnect. We will use one side of the switch in our experiment. So how do we connect it? When we connect it, we're going to connect it around this middle empty rail so that I don't short the 2 sides of the switch that I have. So two connections are going to go on one side and the other 2 are going to go on the other side. So it's kind of in the middle between the 2. I'll connect mine over here. So 2 pins now are connected over here and here. We will use these 2, and the other 2 we will ignore, which are on the other side. How do we connect this? We need to connect one end of it to high voltage. In this case, it's 5 volt. So we'll use a red wire to do that. And the other end is going to be connected to an input digital pin. We will use pin number 2 as my digital input, just for illustrations. So I'll connect this wire directly from the second end of the switch to pin number 2 in my digital part. Now, this switch requires a resistor in order for it to work. It's a pull-down resistor. It's a high value resistance, 10 kilo ohm or 10,000 ohm resistance. We use it between this pin number 2 and ground. Okay. So when I press the switch, I connect it to high voltage. Otherwise, it is at low voltage or connected to ground. Now we connect the remainder of the circuit, which is our basic LED connection. We'll take the LED as usual. The long connection is positive, short is negative. Connect it somewhere on the other side here. Next, we will use 220 ohm resistance, as we usually do. Connect it between one of the ends, for example, the negative end here, and somewhere else in the circuit. The negative end will go to ground. And the positive end will be connected to a digital pin, which we will choose it to be a digital output pin. So I'll use, for example, a blue wire for this one, a different color. And I'll take it from the positive to possibly pin number 13. So we have pin number 13 is a digital output connected to the LED. Pin number 2 is a digital input connected to the push button. So the way this circuit is going to work, simply when I push the button, the LED turns on. And of course you can imagine you can replace the LED with anything else that you want to turn on. You simply push the button and you turn it on. The program that we're using is also in the examples of the Arduino IDE. It is called Button, and it's available under File, Examples, Digital, and then Button. So the program has already been uploaded to the Arduino. Next step is just to power up my Arduino. Now we do have power in the circuit. Now we can test the circuit simply by pressing the button. When I press the button, LED turns on. I release, LED turns off. As I said, we can use, instead of the LED, we can use, for example, motors. We can connect, for example, our control in our servo motors. If you remember, we had the servo motor connection. For example, the orange wire, in this case, would be connected instead of this pin number 13, so we can turn on or off the servo. And the options are endless. It just depends on your application. This is it for this video. We just showed you how to connect a basic digital input using a push button and then control an LED through a digital output. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next video.